Well, I'm here.
Hola. Okay. Today, I really want to continue on chapter 3 because there are it's all of this is coming together, okay? Because really, A Course in Miracles, it's all about mind training. And if you can grasp, there's only like 10 or 15 ideas that you really need to grasp. And if you can grasp those, that's it. That whole book has been written around 10 to 15 ideas. And this part of chapter 3 talks about prayer and God, which are two biggies. And prayer, and I know I say this every time, it is the most important part of this process is prayer. And I can't stress that enough. And this is one that I resisted greatly for 35 years while doing book study, okay? I thought I could do it myself because I had a huge will to do things by myself. I've got this. I can handle this. No, I'll do it. I'm fine. It's like, and that was just my resistance to really seeing A Course in Miracles is not to be studied. Course in Miracles is not to be studied. It's to be experienced by going within. I was going to say doing, but the doing with Holy Spirit is very different than the horizontal doing that we know of on this planet. Okay? Doing with Holy Spirit is prayer. That's all it is. And all I can say, if I could gift you one gift, I would gift you all the gift of willingness to pray all the time, no matter what. Pray. You can't do this by yourself. You can only do this through prayer. Okay? Because again, perception, the way we're thinking right now, we do everything based on perception. And where I'm taking you, our knowingness, is accessed only through prayer and the willingness to see everything differently. And if you're not praying, if you come across, come across anything in the horizontal, you'll find a judgment, I guarantee, because all thoughts are judgment. All thoughts are judgment. So if you're not seeing judgment, you're not looking. And then you need to really pray for the willingness to see judgments, because once you get what a judgment is, and you take that to Holy Spirit to see it differently, things start moving very quickly in the mind training, very quickly. And the only thing will slow this down is if you're not willing to pray with every single judgmental thought, okay? And that's why, someone was just at my door today wanting to ask me about, I don't get one thought away from God, okay? All thoughts are judgment, okay? So I don't get one judgment away from God. If there's a thought coming through, I can guarantee I can find some kind of judgment in it. I'm separating somehow. I'm seeing something is better or worse, more or less, because that's all the perceptual thinking is. It's based on comparison of everything. When you get to knowing, no comparison, because all you're doing, and we'll talk about this today with chapter 3, all you're doing is generating love, creating love. This is where we get to create, okay? So with that being said, let's jump into chapter 3. Okay. Prayer is a way of asking for something. It is the medium of miracles. Now, I'm gonna stop here a second. I'm gonna give you the miracles that A Course in Miracles is talking about is a change of mind only. And we have all been fed a bill of goods. I was raised Catholic. I could say I know what a miracle is. They've made movies about them. All these little children in the fields, and they see God, and that's a miracle. That's not a miracle. That's not a miracle. And miracles, particularly in the arena of illness, a miracle is we get better. That's not a miracle. That's also based on some things happen that are good and some things happen that are bad. That's the horizontal. That's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets. But what I'm talking about is to go into this knowingness where you're only thinking through love, creating through love, and then everything shifts. Everything shifts. And the horizontal, this is the disappearance of the universe. The horizontal is completely meaningless anymore. And it's not a bad thing. It's a really fun place to explore because it's a whole different way of looking at everything through love. And I've never done this before. I'm 72, I think, and I'm just now experiencing thinking through love only. Okay, it took me 72 years. Thank God I got here. That's what I'm just so grateful. It's like, holy moly. But it means having to do this prayer. Prayer is a way of asking for something. It is the medium of miracles. It's like yesterday we talked about resolutions. And I saw resolutions for the longest time as manifesting, and I was down on manifesting. Well, yesterday I got guidance. It's like, no, resolutions, it's just go within for your resolution. Don't ask for things in the horizontal. I want a better relationship. I want to be healthy. I want more money. I want a better job. I want, my son to love me, whatever. Those are prayers according to religion. This is prayer according to God. And the prayer is a medium of miracles to change your mind about everything. Okay? Back to the chapter 3. But the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness. Because those who have been forgiven have everything. Okay, remember, when we're praying for forgiveness, it's not praying for something or somebody else. It's praying that we see it differently. And then the forgiveness is bestowed. We bestow forgiveness on ourselves, which is powerful because it's moving in the direction of seeing ourselves as the Christ, which we have to get to at some point. We've got to let go of all the self-loathing and all the judgments of who we are and how we dealt with stuff. We have to let all that go and see the perfection and innocence of who we are. So the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness, because those who have been forgiven have everything. And by going through this process, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit, help me see this, blah, 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 blah. You start realizing you have everything. Desires and needs appear to just slip away. It's not a conscious thing. It's very unconscious, actually. Once forgiveness has been accepted, and remember, the only one that can accept forgiveness is who? Me. It's me. There is no forgiveness of others. Because if I'm seeing someone out there that needs forgiveness, I'm making them wrong. Judgment. So it's the only way to be forgiven is to pull back all those judgments. They're my judgment. There's nobody out there doing anything to us. Nobody. Nothing. We've gotten into sloppy thinking because we were trained to see it all perceptually. But this is not where we're going with the Course in Miracles, with what Jesus is asking of us. Okay. Once forgiveness has been accepted, once I forgive myself, prayer in the usual sense becomes utterly meaningless. Oh my God. Okay. There is nothing else to pray for, but to pray to see things differently. That's the only prayer there is. But because we were all raised in religions, or what, in whatever way, we were told to pray for stuff. I need this, I need this, I want this, I want that. This is not it. So once we really have forgiven ourselves for everything that we're thinking, and that's an ongoing process. But once we forgive ourselves for everything that we're thinking, we see that we're everything. We see that we're everything. There's no need to hang on to these ideas that we need something or we're lacking something. And those, you don't have to try to think, you don't have to try to think that I don't have needs. They automatically slip away once we take back every single projection that we're projecting and asking ourselves for forgiveness. Okay. The prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that you may be able to recognize what you already have. And you see, when we're seeing perceptually, we're still seeing ourselves as a form. 2 legs, 2 arms, with a story. I'm sick, I've got a husband, I've got children. I'm going on vacation next week. Okay? I'm going to repeat this. The prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that you may able to recognize what you already have. And that's seeing your purity, your innocence. That's all it is. That's all forgiveness gets us to, which is huge. Okay? In electing, okay, now we're going to be talking about the perceptual way of seeing, the old way of seeing. In electing perception instead of knowledge, seeing all through love, perception, knowledge, different sides of the same coin. In electing perception instead of knowledge, you placed yourself in a position where you could resemble your father only by perceiving miraculously. This is an old way of looking at miracles. This is, all I can think of are all of these silly little movies that I used to love in childhood of different miracles, like the Pope says, oh, this is a miracle. Now they're a saint, that kind of thing. So if I am looking through perception, I'm seeing the only way I can see, touch, taste, and feel God is by perceiving a miracle. When in fact, you are the miracle. You don't have to perceive it through thinking. So this whole accepting prayer as the medium for miracles is to ask to see everything differently so that you can finally see yourself as the miracle you are. Oh, I can hear the angels singing. Ah, it's like that's what they want for us. We don't have to see miracles out here. The miracle is when every time you look in the mirror, there's my miracle. And it's beautiful. And if you're not there right now, that's okay. The access to getting here is to keep forgiving yourself for what you're thinking. Hundreds of times a day, I want you to, Holy Spirit, help me see this different. Holy Spirit, when you wake up and it's cold in the morning, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. When your tummy may be feeling off, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. You have a headache, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Your neighbor comes over and tells you to move your car and you get angry. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit, help me see everything differently. And the only way you'll get assistance is to ask for it. And this is coming from a woman that I was self-will run riot, okay? I was completely self-will run riot. I can do it myself. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it myself. No. You need assistance to move into seeing yourself as the miracle because we have so many judgments about ourselves. We're not the perfect mother. We're not the perfect sister. We're not the perfect friend. I need to lose 5 pounds. I've got a headache. We don't see ourselves as the miracle. We judge ourselves. And that's the way we learned how to think, through judgment. And this is not any of that. This is asking for help to see it differently. And then you come out of the other side and go, you look in the mirror and go, oh, there I am. How pretty. Okay. You have lost the knowledge. Oh, here it is. The next sentence. You have lost the knowledge that you yourself are the miracle. It's Jesus talking here, and Gallagher. You have lost the knowledge that you yourself are the miracle of God. Creation is your source. Creation is love. It's the only thing that we can create is love. Creation is your source and your only real function. Your function is to love. And the only way we can love is by getting rid of the judgment first. I don't know if it was on here or something. This is a common scenario. Someone close to you gets sick. And there's a lot of fear in the family. And the family's going nuts. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Okay, it's all coming from horizontal perceptual knowledge. And what I say is the only one that can heal the fear of the sickness is me. So I've got to root around in my head. And I mean, sometimes this is a long rooting around to see where I fear sickness and why I fear sickness. What is so damn scary about sickness? It's nothing. It's a thought. And it may have some symptoms attached to it. And then I say, you're going to be doing a lot more of Holy Spirit. Help me see this differently. It was like when I wasn't breathing, I needed a machine to breathe. So I'd take the machine off and I'd go to the dog park where I really found a lot of pleasure with my dogs. And I'd walk around, but I'd have pain with every single breath because I was believing the symptom was real. And then it all worked back to, oh, yeah, the cancer's now in my lungs, which is what the doctors told me. So I had a lot of unwinding to do. So every single time, pain, breathe in, pain. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Breathe in, pain. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Because I had to see it. I had to see myself as the miracle. And the only way I can do that is to pull back those projections of seeing myself in pain and ask to see it in some other way. Because I was believing the pain was real. And then I had all the, in the horizontal, we're just always shoving in more knowledge, more knowledge. I had all the giants in the medical industry telling me why my lungs are painful. The cancer is moved to your lungs. You're going to need oxygen. You can never go off oxygen. I had all the real knowledgeable people in the world telling me why I was in pain. But that's perceptual seeing. So I had to really, and this was a complete trust walk on my part. I didn't know if it was going to work, but I finally, I gave up my will to do it myself. Holy Spirit, okay, I'm humble. I can't do this. I don't know how to do this because everyone's telling me that what I'm experiencing is normal for someone informed that has what they say I have. So I'm really wanting to see this differently. I want a miracle in my mind. And as a result, and that took about 3 months of pretty much constant prayer. It was pretty much constant prayer. And the prayer was, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then at some point, I didn't notice I wasn't breathing without pain. What I noticed was I wasn't praying as much. I thought, how come I'm not praying? Oh, I don't have pain. How can that be? I'm breathing without pain. Okay? So it's a process. And then it kept going from there. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, what else am I thinking? I'm thinking the doctors charge an enormous amount of, oh, Calico, stop. Let's take that one to Holy Spirit to see it differently. The doctors are charging too much. Okay, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then that was not a problem. Eventually that disappeared. I could care less what they charge. Okay, so this is a process of prayer. I mean, it's called A Course in Miracles, but the way to get to the miracle is through prayer. And again, I'm trying to save you time here. I really am. And I was the most resistant to prayer of anyone I knew. Oh, every now and then, I wake up in the morning going, oh, I hope I have an easy day, which is all horizontal prayer. Instead of, I want to hear God's guidance today. Now that's a real prayer. Or, I want to have just a series of holy instances today. That's a prayer, okay? They take us within. Has nothing to do with this horizontal. If anything, it pulls us completely away from believing the horizontal, okay? Okay. Oh, I love this paragraph for some reason. Okay. The statement, in quotes, God created man in his own image and likeness, end of quotes. Now, we've all heard this. I'm not even religious, and I've heard it. Okay. God created man in his own image and likeness. And then, the next thought I would have in my older, authority issued persona was, well, how come we all look different? If we're all created like God, then how come we all look different? How come some of us appear to be good and some of us appear to be bad? How does that work? Well, here Jesus will tell us. The statement God created man in his own image and likeness needs reinterpretation. Image can be understood as thought. Image can be understood as thought. And there's so many ways that if you can understand this sentence, you will springboard yourself in your mind training. Image can be understood as thought because everything in our world, remember those first 3 or 5 lessons? This is not a chair, this is not a blah, blah, blah. Thoughts are images. All thoughts are images. If you're thinking a thought right now, you're thinking of a storyline, a picture of something. Okay? And if you can start seeing, because that's why all thoughts are judgments. Okay? And likeness, okay, God created man in his own image and likeness. Likeness is of a like quality. So God created man in his own thought and of like quality. Hence, oh man, here we go. Join hands. We're going to do a dive here. Remember the old I am? I am God. Ooh, and it's just, this is heresy. If you're harboring any religious thoughts, this is heresy. I am God. I'm going to repeat these couple lines. The statement, God created man in his own image and not likeness, needs reinterpretation. Image can be understood as thought, and likeness is of a like quality. So if God created man in his own thought and of a like quality, I am God. But you see, this is where we have a false sense of humility. Oh no, I can't say that. That's just so wrong. I can't say that. Oh no, I can't say that. Well, this is what A Course in Miracles is trying to get us to see: our perfection, our innocence, and we're created as God in mind. And then we created, we jump out of a uterus in form and we judge it up one side and down the other. Too angry. Oh, too crazy. Oh, needs to lose weight. Oh, God. Just not a nice person. Has no friends. Her mother hates her, Then we fill our storyline with all these judgments. And every single one of them needs to go through the prayer process. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Okay? God did create spirit in his own thought and of a quality like to his own. Now remember, God is an experience. God is not a two-legged being. God is an experience. So God, the experience, did create spirit, you and me, in his, again, in their own thought and of a quality likened to his own. We are little gods. that lost our way because all we know is separation. I need to be better. Separation. I need to do this better. Separation. And it's to undo all separation, all separating thoughts, and bring us back into the perfection and innocence of who I am. Okay. This is Jesus, there is nothing else. Period. Okay, now we're going to talk about perception again. The way we were trained in thinking. Perception, on the other hand, is impossible without a belief in more and less. So I would give up those words, more and less, better and worse. Just eliminate them from your conversations, okay? Because that's coming from perceptual thinking only. That can never come from the knowledge, the loving mind. At every level, perceptual thought involves selectivity. This is better than that. I like peas better than broccoli. I like you better than them. And this one is a good one for parents or people that are involved in families. Guess what? You're thinking specially. Oh, they're special because they're my husband. Oh, they're special because they're my mother. That's based on selectivity. This one is better than that one. Again, through seeing everything through love, we give up this selectivity. We give it up. Well, they're bad because they did something bad. Doesn't exist. Except if I am choosing to see it that way. And so what's the answer? Prayer. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Okay. We're almost done, and I'll open this up. Perception is a continual process. This is our old way of thinking that we have to let go of. Perception is a continual process of accepting and rejecting, organizing and reorganizing, shifting and changing. Another way of putting it, we're on the deck of the Titanic and it's going down, but we're going to put those chairs where we think they will be best utilized. Okay? So this whole idea of perceptual thinking, we have to let go of. It is not helpful. Evaluation is an essential part of perception. Okay, I was trained as a scientist. Guess what we were trained in? How to evaluate everything. Okay, because that's what scientists do. We evaluate, and we're paid to evaluate. That gives us more status. They're paying us. Evaluation is an essential part of perception because judgments are necessary in order to select anything in the horizontal. So just watch your language. When you're in the restaurant and you're ordering your meal, and I've seen David do this so many times. He'll order something and they never get his order right, ever. They always bring him something else. Guess what? He eats it. He doesn't send it back. It's like, thank you. And he eats whatever they send him. So I say, and I do this a lot. The waitress asks, what would you like? I say, what would you suggest? She'll suggest something and I'll say, okay, thank you. I'll take that. This whole thing that we're talking about in these 2 paragraphs is how to develop trust. Trust You will get everything that you need without evaluation, without trying to select something that you like or don't like. Okay? So these two little paragraphs say it all. If you could get these two little paragraphs, you got the whole Course in Miracles. Okay? So with that being said, I've run a little long. We're going to say goodbye to our YouTube friends. Goodbye, YouTube friends. Until Saturday. Oops, hang on.